Hello, welcome to another weekly update. I hope you're doing well. Kind of a fun week in the UK. We've had lots of snow, so that's meant just a kind of chance to... it's been pretty disruptive actually for transport and stuff like that, but it's been quite nice to get outside and make a snowman and do all that sort of stuff. Kind of not as much as some places and not as little as some places, nicely in the middle. Again, it's kind of stuck around for a couple of days, so that's been quite nice as well. So other interesting things. So we'll kick the week off in style with appearing on the Microsoft 365 PnP Weekly episode. So every week the PnP team do this weekly episode, like a roundup of everything that's new and interesting and announcements and stuff from Microsoft and the community. And this week I got to kind of join them, talk through that stuff and go through what's interesting and what's new. So that was really good fun. Thanks very much both to Vesa and Waldeck for having me on. We talked through all sorts of things actually, the things you might expect. So we talked through about, Teams platform development. We talked about bots. We talked about voice. We actually talked about some Skype for Business stuff, some old Link stuff. We talked about Graph. We talked about Microsoft Viva. And there's loads and loads of news items to cover as well. So it was really good fun. Did all of that. There's a podcast as well. I'll put the links to both. I've done a blog post with a video in it and links to the podcast as well, because you can probably there is some screen sharing in there actually. Vesa goes through some of the news items, but if it's easier for you, you'll get a lot out of the podcast as well, because it is us just talking a lot of the time as well. It was really good fun. So that was really good, and that was a nice way to start the week actually. It was kind of early on Monday morning, good chance to just kind of catch up and talk to those two, and it was good fun. Okay, other things. So this is interesting. So the Microsoft Teams app generator, the Yeoman app generator, has a new version. So what does that mean? So it's been a while since we've had a new version. So it was version 2 and it's now version 3. New things that have come in this version. So there's a big change to how it's how the scaffolding is, like the project that is how it's all structured, like how the scaffolding is structured, and it's a bit more laid out like you might imagine other open source projects. If you look at it, you'll see the commonality with some other open source projects as well, so that's nice. So if you're used to using scaffolding, then I think you'll get a lot out of this one as well, which is really nice. And it's just kind of better separation of concerns as well around testing and dev and linting and stuff like that. So that's nice. And they've also moved the default gulp tasks out into their own package as well, which is nice. And this isn't strictly new in 3, but it's relatively new, and I think they've tidied it up in 3. They've kind of moved over a lot of the old class-based React implementations into functional components, which is nice. That's good, and they've fixed some bugs in that as well. And a bunch of other things as well that are just like quality of life improvements, really. Really nice. It's got full support as well for the Microsoft Teams updated Schema 1.9, which I think is not even out yet. It's just like we know roughly what's going to be in it, even if it's not supported, which is kind of amazing. So that's really good. So you can go and get that. I'll put a link to the blog post, has the link to go and get it and everything, and then you can Yo Teams. You can get it from npm, so it's just like npm install generator-teams, I think. Or you can go aka.ms/yoteams and get it that way as well. Cool. Next thing to talk about. So this isn't strictly a team story or a developer story, but it sort of does impact some developers maybe, and here's why. So this is about Microsoft Edge. And specifically, Microsoft's plans to replace legacy Edge with the latest Microsoft Edge. So what does that mean? So a while ago, Microsoft announced that they had stopped supporting the Edge legacy desktop application. So that ended a while ago, I want to say. And they sort of announced it last year, and they said, look, complete support is going to end at the end of March this year. And after that time, so that's like not very long away now, that's like a month away, like 'cause it's March 9th. And after that time, it's not going to get security updates. So what they're going to do is from April, they are going to replace it. So they're going to replace the legacy Edge application with the new Edge. So literally replace it, get rid of Edge Legacy and replace it with the new one. This is coming on the Windows 10 cumulative monthly security update. So the update Tuesday on April the 13th. So IT admins, what does this mean? April the 13th, the original Edge is going to disappear and the new Edge is going to show up. Right, why am I talking about this at all? Why do I care? So Legacy Edge is the only version of Edge that supports ORTC, which is the only protocol supported by Skype Web SDK. So if you're using the Skype Web SDK, even if you've got on-premise, like Skype for Business on premises, or Skype for Business Online, although if you're Skype for Business Online, you have different problems because that's going away in July. But if you're Skype for Business on premises, and you're using Skype Web SDK and you have an application that is hosted in Microsoft Edge and it only works in Edge because it doesn't work in any of the other browsers because it's using ORTC, so it's doing media. If this is you, then you need to do something because on April the 13th, your Edge browser is going to disappear and the new Edge is going to show up instead. So I'll put a link to the blog post so you can see what's happening. I don't know if there's a way out of it. I don't know if you can stop it. I don't know if that's a sensible idea. It's going to be out of support. And so you are not going to... And actually, they've bundled it. Interesting, they've bundled it in with the Windows security updates. So you can't really get out of it unless you also get out of updates to Windows. So that's not really a very good idea either. So pretty much you're going to have to come off the ORTC experience that you get with Skype Web SDK. So I should write that up as a blog post really because it's... Is it a big deal? I don't know. Like, is anyone still using this anymore? I'm not sure. I haven't come across anyone for a little while who's still using this, but if you are, let me know. It'd be interesting to know. All right, and I'm going to keep it short this week, but I do want to leave you with this because it's kind of fun. This is just developer stuff. It's not, well, anyone interested in this. It's not specifically developer stuff really at all, but it's not very team stuff. It's from Scott Hanselman, and it's about the Windows Terminal preview. So there's a thing called Windows Terminal. I've talked about it before. It's a kind of replacement for Command Prompt. It's like Command Prompt on steroids. It's brilliant. I like it. It's a little bit easier. I like having multiple tabs. That's kind of nice as well. And I like being able to style it a little bit as well. But anyway, there's a preview version. I didn't realize the preview version existed, but anyway, you can run the preview side by side with the real one. The reason for the preview version, the reason I think this is interesting is a lot of the thing I didn't like particularly about Windows Terminal is that it's hugely customizable, but you sort of have to know what you want to customize in order to know it's customizable at all, because it's all done in like a big settings text file. There's a big JSON settings file. It's a bit like the original Teams app problem, right? Where the manifest is just like a wall of JSON and you don't know how to, you sort of need to know what's possible before you know what you want to change, right? So either you go all the way through the schema and read all the files and figure it out, and who's got time for that, or you just leave it as it is. And I was kind of in the leave it as it is pile. Like, I knew it was kind of fun to change some of the settings, and every now and again I'd Google for like how are people changing their terminal settings and do some things, but I didn't do loads of it. Anyway, this latest version introduces a nice UI for changing the settings, which is good for lazy people like me. Because it means, let me show you actually. So this is Scott's blog post, and he goes through what you have to do. You have to paste this into your settings file to get like a shortcut key to go and open the settings UI. So let me show you. So this is what it looks like. So this is that version, and if I do Control Shift and comma, so this won't work for you if you just get the preview, unless you do what was in Scott's blog post, by the way. You have to register that keyboard shortcut. But look at this. This is all the settings, but there's a nice UI, so I can kind of change all sorts of things about the color schemes, about the appearance. There's all sorts of things in here I didn't know you could do. A whole bunch of like profiles you can add, how the appearance looks, and I sort of knew you could do this, but like it was a bit of a pain to do in the JSON file. You can have different settings for the layout and appearance for each of the different things. So like your Azure Cloud Shell you can have look different from your command prompt, which you can have look different from your PowerShell. So I really like that. I think it's a kind of a cool, it's a cool way to tell them apart. So yeah, so I really like that. That's something you can play with this weekend, maybe. If you didn't have anything to do, play with it this weekend. Or play in the snow, if that's you as well. If you're in the UK or in the US and you've had some snow as well. Because I know snow is not just a UK thing, and I go on about it, and then my US friends send me photos of real snow where it's like, whoa. Whereas our snow is like this, and we get excited by it. Anyway, I think that's enough for me. It's been a really busy week. And there's been lots happening. There's so much stuff I want to blog about, and I just haven't got the time at the moment. Bear with me. It's going to get easier, I think, and I'll get back on that kind of blogging train. But yeah, maybe easing off for a little bit. Anyway, have a great weekend, whatever it is you're doing, and I will talk to you again next time.